Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, USA Global TV viewers and listeners. This is Talking Heads on, of course, our favorite platform right here at USA Global TV and Radio. And for those of you that have not seen me around, I am Mariska du Preez, and I am a leadership coach as well as trainer. And for today, yes, we are continuing on our journey around, well, how to become a better leader and really be the leader that other people want to work with. Now, I know as specialists moving into leadership, this is quite a tricky position, and we don't always know how to handle it, what to do, where to focus. It can all feel very, very overwhelming and stress us out. And that is why I thought it would be great to share a little bit around what you can expect on this journey and what to look out for in order for you, well, preferably not to get fired within the first couple of days. So, with that all said, and knowing that we are looking into our leadership journey, we are today at lesson number 4. Yes, we have traveled along quite a bit, and if you have missed lesson 1, 2, or 3, you are more than welcome to go back on our platform and have a little look and see in our leadership section, and you will find them there. We will also, of course, link to a few of the other ones that we did quite a while back, and you can also find these on our platform. So, without further ado, let's get into it. As I mentioned, this is lesson number 4, and what we are looking at is, am I a DIY leader or a DTT leader? Yeah, I know this is acronyms, and we normally say within any space to limit them. Most people will, of course, know what a DIY leader is, but what is a DTT leader? We will find out shortly. So what have we covered thus far? First off, we looked at the promotion. We went from specialist and now we are a leader. We have that shiny new badge. We are very proud and we know exactly what to be doing because we have been doing this for a long time. Then we had a bit of a look at our skill sets that might not be the ones that we think of that we need for this new leadership role. We also had a look in lesson number 3 around how our dynamics in our relationships might need to change because now we are the leader and not a co-worker anymore within our space. And today, yes, no more DIY. I know, specialists, we love doing it ourselves. Not necessarily the best way to go when we are a leader, but what is happening really? So we have the ticket, we got on the train, we have traveled quite a way, and thus far we did not crash or derail ourselves at all because we sort of got our bearings, we sort of know what's going on. The thing is, if we don't do this next few couple of things, we might find ourselves derailing in all not so pretty ways. And why exactly is this? So Marshall Goldsmith actually reminds us that one of the greatest mistakes of successful people is the assumption, I am successful, I behave this way. Therefore, I must be successful because I behave this way. Now, as specialists, this is a very important message. We became specialists and we moved up within our career because of certain behaviors, because of certain knowledge sets that served us. As a leader, if we are going to keep clinging to that, we will have that previous slide's crashed train wreck, because it will not serve us. Now, I want you to think about a leader that you've had in the past. And what we are doing with this space at the moment is really thinking about, what am I broadcasting to the rest of the world? Now, to do that, it's easier to look at others, because sometimes we don't see what we do ourselves as well as we can see what other people do. We have blind spots. We don't always notice what's going on for ourselves. So let's look at somebody else. Think about a leader that you have known that wasn't the greatest, right? It wasn't fun to be on their team. You did not enjoy them as a leader. So I want you to have that person in mind. And then we're going to look at two questions. First question, what level of trust did they place in me? How did I feel about the level of trust they placed in me? And the second question that we're thinking about is, what is my leader, because of their behavior, because of what they were doing, saying about my abilities? What's the message that I received from how they behaved? Right, you've got a bit of an idea what your thinking is around this? Now, for me personally, especially when it comes to trust and leaders that I've had in the past, I've had a leader, for instance, that really looked at every piece of work I did, every single piece. Before it could go out of the department or were filed or submitted in any way, they would look at it. I felt that they did not trust me. I also felt that because, of course, they didn't only look at the work, right? I would get it back, and it would be a little bit like being back in school. I will have red notes all over the place of things that I needed to fix or look at, and yes, some of it was valid. And some of it was sort of going, well, paint this room. And then I paint the room a bright yellow because, well, I might feel like the room wants bright yellow. And they will come back to me and say, I did it incorrectly. If you do not specify what color you want the room painted or how exactly you want it painted, and you only tell me to paint a room, who is in the wrong? So I had a lot of this, my way is better feeling as well. And I don't think the work will be done if I do it, because they're always checking up. Or that my work isn't good enough. Right. So when we are interacting with our team, we are broadcasting a message. And this message might not serve us or our team. So how do we change this? How do we make this a message that actually supports our team and us in the process and ensures that we are not a do-it-ourselves leader, but a DTT leader? So what is a DTT leader, you ask? Well, it is a developing the team leader. So instead of doing it myself, I am developing the team. And that's really what leadership is. That is what leadership is all about. And within this space, we are today going to look at 3 different elements that we can utilize today in our approach with our teams to help them and to help us become a DTT leader instead of a DIY leader. So the very, very first one, of course, well, maybe it's not of course, maybe you don't know this, it's around support. And support has 4 different elements to be thinking about. Now, I illustrated it in pictures for us because, yes, we remember pictures really, really well. So I want you to think about those little cards that you get from a coffee shop or any loyalty card really that you get. So what they do is they either put little stars on it or sign it or clip it some way. And the more clippings you have in it or sign signatures, the closer you come to your next cup of coffee, whatever loyalty point you will receive. Now, this reminded me of promoting people with others. So every time I can promote a team member with somebody outside of the team or even inside of the team, right? They get a little extra mark on the loyalty card for our team. Because, yes, it builds trust. It builds an environment in which they want to be working, and it shows their skill off. Now, we are not the only ones that is responsible for this, and I have a little story around this. I had an employee that came to me very disheartened one day, and I actually picked them up to go back to the power station where we worked at this stage for a call out. And they confided in me that they don't feel very happy because they have another colleague that they're working with, and the personnel at the station will always ask this colleague to help them with whatever breakdown they had. And they never asked the person in question. So I said to the person, well, next time when you and the colleague work together, what I suggest you do is ask your colleague whether you can give the feedback, right? So once the thing is fixed, or you guys at least know what's going on with it, ask your colleague, or ask would be good, but you can also tell if you want. Ask your colleague that you want to give the feedback to the operations team. Because one of the things for us as humans is to build relationships. And the more we see the person, 1, and 2, actually get feedback from them on the thing that we had pain with, the more we trust them and the more our relationship will grow and be built. So they started doing this. And of course, a couple of months later, I asked them in the hallway how it's going, and they were smiling ear to ear because I wasn't necessarily the person that was promoting them. They were starting to promote themselves. So promoting our team members with others is not only for us to be doing. Yes, we have a responsibility to do that, and we also have a responsibility to teach them how to do that. And that brings us to the next one, which is developing our skills. So we have a very wide variety of different skills, and some of it is our technical skills, and hopefully we've learned those while we were studying. And of course, we continue learning them throughout our time in work. And there's also the human skills. So negotiation skills, being able to promote ourselves skills, and working with others in general. So helping our team to be able to increase their own skill set and helping them identify the areas where maybe they're not doing so great so that they can increase that skill set. Then the next one, yes, there's a shield for a reason. And the shield is for protecting our team. Now, as a leader, there's a lot of times that there is external things coming at us and at our team that would not necessarily serve the team at that time. And that's where we need to step in as protector. We need to protect them so that they can actually function the way that they're supposed to be able to function. So we can think of ourselves a little bit like a old-fashioned protector with all the armor and the shield, because at times that is what is required. So it might be that we get a project and we get a very unreasonable timeline, for instance. Now, being able to not bring that to the team as a, well, this is thou shall and this is the end of it, but rather having a discussion to find out exactly what it is that they need and take that back, maybe with a little bit of fat on the sides, so that we have negotiation scope within that, and we can bring something to the team that would help them to thrive instead of putting all of us under a whole lot of unnecessary pressure. Yes, timelines can be flexible. In saying that, we need to establish that, preferably upfront, and negotiate it. Otherwise, well, it might not be as flexible. Then the very last one is giving our team challenging assignments. Now, what do I mean by challenging assignments? Yes, we like to do our normal day-to-day work, and we also want to be challenged. For people to stay engaged, we want to have a little bit of a stretch, right? Not a break, a stretch. So we don't want to throw them in the deep end of the pool with sharks. That would be unreasonable. We do, however, want to put them in the deep end of the pool with some support, so that they know this is a challenge. I need to be swimming, and I still have support. If I'm sinking, I can sing out and say, hey, this is a problem. I'm sinking. I don't know what to be doing. So building some support for our team in that way is a really, really good way to keep our team members and have engagement. And that then brings us to our second piece. Because within this space, we also need to set effective goals. You'll recall the story I told around the room painting. Now, if I were to tell somebody to paint a room and I only give them that information, am I setting an effective goal? No, I'm not. And I'm not because, yes, it's specific in the sense that it is painting the room, it is not wallpapering the room. It is not specific in the sense of what color I want it, what type of paint to use, right? So I need to be specific with exactly what I need happening. And then it needs to be measurable. Of course, if the whole room is painted, then I can measure, yep, the whole room is painted, and I'm happy. The next thing is attainable. Remember the thing around the stretch, not a break. So we want it to be a stretch goal for them, but we don't want it to break them. And if there is going to be a possibility for failure, because this is the first time they've done it and they've never done this before, understanding to build in a learning phase into that is very good to think about, because if we fail, what we get is we get information of how this thing will not be working. We can adapt to it and we can change course. We can put a different strategy in place. So making sure that whatever the goal is that we are setting is attainable. Is this something that we know how to do? This team member knows how to do it. It might not be a stretch because of the doing. The time might be a stretch. Or if it's something new and the person or people do not know how to do this, then that would be a stretch in the sense of this is a learning and I need to look at my time allocation for it. So looking at attainability, and that's why we see that there is these 5 things to take into consideration, which also brings us to the next one, which is relevance, right? We don't want to be doing tasks or letting our team do all sorts of things when it is not relevant for them to do. And then, of course, the last one, having it time-based. Now, as I mentioned, if it is a learning thing, looking at that time base that we have and not setting up unnecessary pressures in areas where we know that there will be some learning and failings and iterations going on in the process. And understanding that if this is something that has been done before, maybe we can tighten the time a little bit in order for us to feel a bit of that pressure because we know exactly what we are doing in that specific space. So taking that into consideration, we can then set up our SMART goal. And then the very last one is feedback. Now, feedback is around being able to give candid feedback. And what is this? Well, this we actually also discussed in our Building Kingdoms episodes. And if you specifically want to go and have a look at the one around healthy conflict. So there you will find that we delved into our candid feedback a little bit deeper. But in general, what this is we have 4 types of feedback that we can possibly give. And we will start with the worst one first. So manipulative insincerity is where we stay silent and we don't really care about the person, right? That becomes manipulative and it's insincere. So the next one is where we don't really care, but at least we're saying something. Now, I have worked for bosses like this. I have also worked for the boss that stays silent and do not necessarily like me so much. And if I had to choose one, I would rather go for the challenge directly, even if you don't like me, than the staying silent. Because if you stay silent, I don't know what I do wrong and I don't know how to fix it. If at least you say something about it, even if it comes out horribly, I know what I need to be fixing. Then the next one is staying silent, but I care so much about this person that if I say something, maybe it is turned into a compliment of some sort, or, oh, it's not so bad, and I go back and I redo the work for them. And this is the ruinous empathy environment, and we really do not want to be functioning in this space. One, we are not helping our team grow. We are not helping that person grow. And number two, we are falling back into being a DIY leader. We want to avoid this. So please, please, please do not go into this space. And then the place where we actually want to be in general for feedback is we want to care personally, and we want to care about the person that we have on our team as a valued team member, and understanding that they are also a human being. We all have mistakes and shortcomings, and challenge them directly because we care for them so deeply. So understanding that that is the way we want to give feedback, because that will help them grow. They will understand that we care about their performance, we care about them as a human being, and we care about their growth and development, which means we are in the DTT leadership realm, and that's exactly where we want to be. So that gives us the 3 ways to become a DTT leader and not a DIY leader. So first off, support. Secondly, making sure that we set proper goals. And then, of course, our feedback. Making sure we give proper feedback. And that is the end of our lesson for today. If you have any questions or you would like some more information, as I mentioned, some of these things we have discussed in previous lessons already, so you can go into that in a little bit more depth. And of course, look around. You might find some other interesting nuggets in there as well. And if you don't find what you are looking for, or you want to reach out for any other reason, or you have any questions, please let me know, and you can do so via my email, which is on screen, and that is mariska@journey2discover.com. Alternatively, you can also find me on LinkedIn. Please let me know that you saw me here on USA Global TV and Radio, and we can start our conversation. I would love to hear from you. Until next time, and for lesson number 5, enjoy your practice as leaders. Bye.